McCarthy. Megan, good morning to you. Lakeshore Children's Advocacy Center Executive Director. Glad to have you on. We might be joined by Mike Haveman, Captain of the Ludington Police Department, here in a few minutes. But you have a big fundraiser next Thursday, right?
We do. Good morning, Chris. Thanks so much for helping us to kind of sound the alarms for this event. Next Thursday, at starting at the Lakehouse and then continuing on to the Badger, will be the Badger Experience. It is a fundraiser that's being organized by the Friends of Ludington Police, which is a nonprofit to support the work of the police department and their partners. And we are an important partner of the local city, state police, working with child abuse survivors in our community.
Take us through, a little bit of the behind the scenes of planning this and bringing it to fruition, if you would.
Yes, this is the second year of this event, though they have expanded it a bit with starting with hors d'oeuvres and some conversation at the Lakehouse in order to make sure people understand the work of the CAC. I'll be speaking along with one of our family advocates and forensic interviewers, and also Chief Chris Jones of the Ludington Police Department, helping people understand the way that law enforcement and the Children's Advocacy Center work together along with the prosecutor's office, mental and medical health professionals to support child survivors and their families during active child abuse investigations. And then it will continue on to the Badger, live music, guided tours, snacks, and it'll be a great night. And we're really hoping for a good turnout.
Well, and hopefully it is a successful event. There are still tickets available for this, and I'm going to try to just put Mike on via cell phone here. I'm going to give his number a ring, and we'll have Mike on with us this morning too, because there is that relationship that works well between the police department and the Children's Advocacy Center. So let me bring him in since he's having some difficult. Well, there's his video, so let's see if we can bring him on. All right, there you are for a moment there. Hopefully we'll have you there. Mike, can you hear us okay? Oh, he freezes a little bit. I'll blame that one on some of the technology. So I'll just give him a call, Megan, and we'll have him on that way there.
Okay.
Let's see if we can.
We're incredibly grateful for the strong relationship with our local police department. It is a game changer.
Absolutely. Mike is on with us as well. Mike, let's just have you via cell phone for this segment. Let's talk about this. Megan, connecting with the partners, as you mentioned just a moment ago, one of them being the Ludington Police Department. Mike, you probably, when you have that call, or when, as you mentioned, you started this last year, this is something that when it comes to the families and kids in our community, that's important to the Ludington Police Department, right?
It is. It's important to the Ludington Police Department, but also the community as a whole. The work that the Child Advocacy Center does is very important. It's amazing that we have that resource available to us, and they work with the people in the community that are really the most vulnerable, and we feel that as a partner we need to do everything we can to support them and give them the resources that they need to continue their work.
Yeah, absolutely. And Megan, when you hear that, I mean, that's got to be reassuring for you.
Absolutely. It's a hard time for victim service organizations across the country. Our federal and state funding is at its lowest level ever. At the same time that our client numbers are up, the needs of the kids in our community are still there. Some CACs are having to cut back on what they're able to offer, but our community is rallied around our organization, wanting to make sure that every child has a voice, a path towards healing, that all of our services, advocacy, court preparation, forensic interviews, medical exams, trauma therapy, that none of those will be sacrificed. So the fact of the Friends of Ludington Police stepping up in this enormous way, it takes a lot to organize a fundraiser and to make sure that the community knows that our organization is here. We're beyond grateful.
And it's important there. One thing that you mentioned a few moments ago was funding, and we do see actually from time to time that because we all kind of expect that the funds are going to be there year after year and hopefully maybe increases and so on and so forth, but it doesn't always happen that way.
It does not. No, the funding model for children's advocacy centers, domestic violence shelters, elder abuse, these are all ones that in large part depend on stable, especially federal and state funding, and that just hasn't been there. We often don't find out what our grant awards will be until after the fiscal year is started. This year we received $60,000 less than we had the year before. About 50% of our funds come from individual and corporate donors and fundraising events. And we also rely on community foundations, private foundations, putting together the funding to make sure these services are there is a heavy lift. So having community partners who are dedicated to helping shoulder that is exceptional.
It sounds like with Ludington Police Department and others that's needed more than ever. It sounds like. Do you? And I don't want to spend too much time on the loss of these dollars, but it helps the community to understand that in times like this, it is important to maybe do a little bit more or attend an event like this so that overall these dollars can be raised. But do you still feel that there is not necessarily from the community, but from those that do provide grants and funding, that they understand that small communities, just as much as larger communities and different agencies, um, they are very important to the structure of a household.
And that's what we're working to make sure that we're screaming that message as much as possible, that we cannot be a community that doesn't have a children's advocacy center. This would look it would look so different for children and families in crisis. And as Captain Haveman said, these are our community's most vulnerable. About 80% of our cases last year were child sexual abuse, about 170 forensic interviews of local child victims. And the CAC, just like the police department, the prosecutor's office, we're all individual agencies, but we're all part of this joint multidisciplinary team. And the CAC is there to make sure that the family is guided through this process, connecting law enforcement, child protective services, the prosecutor, the medical and mental health professionals, being that kind of joint location, but also kind of coordinating those services with our great partners that we have.
And you feel now that you have some years, under your belt, the team is there, that it is, and obviously you made that statement a moment ago, and so that's important that no community should go without obviously the advocacy center. Do you feel like you are making strides in the greater Ludington community, and what does that look like?
So we opened the doors to our Ludington location. It's been 3 years now, and we have been so blessed with our strong relationship and the support that we have received from the Ludington community. I think there are still a lot of people who just don't know that the CAC exists. We sometimes say that's a good thing. It means that your family has likely not needed our services, but we no longer have the luxury of just waiting for donors who might be interested. We need to make sure that our community as a whole knows who we are, what we do, and is committed to making sure that Mason County continues to be serviced by a children's advocacy center. There are 40 CACs in the state. There are still communities that are not covered by a children's advocacy center, and things look much different in those communities for child victims.
Yeah, I believe it. For your department, for your office, how big is the net? How big is the area that you are covering, and is it straining sometimes?
So we have 2 locations. We have a center in Manistee and a center in Ludington. We cover Manistee, Mason, Oceana counties, and also the jurisdiction of the Little River Band of Ottawa Indians. And our staff travels between the 2 locations depending on where a case is. We have 3 trauma therapists. We have 6 forensic interviewers. And then we also have 3 prevention educators who are in all 3 counties and the school districts providing prevention education. Our staff is carries a lot on our shoulders, not only the everyday work, but the emotional toll of, these are some pretty dark stories that these kids are sharing as they are working to so bravely, tell their truth and on that path to justice and healing. We feel honored to do this work, but also recognize that it is hard, and having the support of the community, having support of our partners like the Ludington Police Department and Friends of Ludington Police is what makes the burden carryable.
Yeah. When Captain Haveman and I were chatting last week, he said, this is a very important event to tell the community about, and that's why we're having this conversation this morning. And it goes to show that you are doing great for the community, but I would assume there is more work to be done. Before we wrap up here in just a few minutes, we've got a lot to talk about here, but I definitely want to make sure that the community understands what you do, or I guess more of the bigger question is how they can reach out if there are things happening, within their walls. And so we'll get to that here in a moment. But I want to bring in Captain Haveman. He's joining us this morning. And if for our listeners, if they're just joining us, we're talking with Captain Haveman from the Ludington Police Department, Megan McCarthy from Lakeshore Children's Advocacy Center, and Mike. The event next week is obviously to help raise funds for the Child Advocacy Center. But from a police officer standpoint, this has to hit the core of what you believe in as the safety and protection that the officers walk around behind that badge every day, right?
Yeah, we feel very strongly in supporting the victims and supporting the children victims in the area, and the work that the CAC does is just one of the main things that we're able to do to support that work. And kind of to piggyback on what Megan had been saying, is one of the things that they really do is remove barriers, and it's remove barriers to the kids with getting interviews and getting introduced to the beginning phases of getting justice, but also for healing. And right now, as we drive and we look at the gas stations, with gas being $4 a gallon, and the cost of vehicles and maintaining vehicles, not everybody has transportation. And the fact that we have that resource right here in Mason County is very important. It's important that we're able to maintain that and keep the CAC local. It's disheartening when you hear parents who want to get help for their kids but can't make that trip all the way to Manistee because they can't afford the gas, or they don't have and can't get somebody to drive them up there. So to have that resource is very, very crucial to our community.
And Megan, if you had to prioritize, or not necessarily prioritize, just list, I guess, the needs within the Ludington, within the Manistee community that the Advocacy Center provides, what are those, so that we can really connect with what the agency does?
So our primary service that is a forensic interview. When there is a suspicion or an allegation of child abuse in our community, we receive a call from law enforcement or CPS to coordinate a forensic interview of the child, which is watched in real time by law enforcement and CPS, shared electronically with prosecutor's office. But our biggest expense is the mental health counseling. A child, a family will likely be once to our center for a forensic interview, but they may be in therapy with us for 6 months to a year. For a child who's been sexually assaulted, it's not just the child victim, it's the family who needs to help in making sense of this, who needs to make sure that there is a trusted and qualified professional who is helping this family make sense of what has happened. So our therapy services are the most expensive, but also one of the most critical services that we provide. And then we do stay with them through if the case is going to trial. We provide court preparation, advocacy. We're with this family long after even the case is closed. We're there for the long haul, for the healing process, to help them assure that although this is something awful that has happened, it is one chapter in this child's story. It's not the defining chapter.
Absolutely. This brings us to a big part of our conversation today. And I wanted to talk at the beginning about the foundation of this because, you had mentioned, both of you actually mentioned, when we talk about $4 gas and we talk about loss of funding, that it's not just at the grant level, it's in all of our pockets, right? Where it's tougher to make a decision on what to support and how to help and what to give. And that brings us to the event. You mentioned, Megan, in its second year. It's the Badger Experience. It's taking place June 4th, which is next Thursday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And it's kind of a level event. You get a chance to be a part of the Lakehouse experience, and then move on to Badger, and then also some of the behind the scenes on the Badger too. Uh, how did that part of this come together? And take us through some of the details, if you would, Megan, and then Mike, if you can piggyback on that.
This is probably Captain Haveman, because I'm thrilled to say that we did not dream up this event. We were approached by Chief Jones and Captain Haveman last year, that we recognize that we have not only a role as a partner, but we want to help with sustainability. And they connected with the Badger, with local restaurants. They made this event happen, and we're there to help people understand our work, but they've done all of the heavy lifting of the actual event.
All right. Well, Captain Hadman, I'm gonna put the attention on you for a few minutes. Then take us through it. Take us through all the details, if you don't mind.
Sure. Last year, the chief and I were having a discussion, and we said, listen, we need to do something to really support the Child Advocacy Center with the Friends of Ludington Police, and just come together to support them. And we thought, what things are truly Ludington? What says Ludington? And one of those things has always been the Badger. It's very quintessential Ludington. And the other thing is really getting together as a community and helping those agencies and the people who really need our support. So with that, we approached the Badger, and they said, absolutely, let's do a fundraiser on the Badger. And we did. We then looked at the fundraiser as a whole and how the event went. And we said, there's some tweaks that we could do to make it even better. Then we started discussing it, and we thought, what better way to make this better than to start at the Lakehouse? And as the Badger comes in, there's be someone from the car ferry there narrating and coming in, so people will learn how it works, what they're doing. We've all sat there and watched it come into port and spin around and back into the dock. But we really get the opportunity to listen and see and learn how that actually works. Then while we're at the Lake House, Megan and her staff will be able to talk to everybody who's in one place and really be able to have a chance to communicate their message and the importance of their work to everybody attending. While they're there, there'll be some hors d'oeuvres from that is being catered in from Hearthstone in Muskegon. They have some looks like pretty fancy hors d'oeuvres that are going to be coming in, and some hot honey sweet potatoes and some other fancy stuff that they have coming in to be catered. And we'll be at the Lakehouse until the car ferry is able to get the passengers off, get the cars off, and get everybody ready. And at 8 o'clock, we're going to be transferring the event from the Lakehouse over to the car ferry. We have 2 tickets. One of the general admission tickets those passengers will be able to have just the Badger experience and come on board and walk around and kind of have a self-guided tour of the boat, maybe play some Badger bingo, and just really get to see the Badger in a way that they otherwise wouldn't be able to. And we are able to, with the help of the Badger, they're really excited about this, have some 40-minute tours. So we'll have 3 rounds of the 40-minute tours, and those are the VIP tickets, just because there's additional time and expense that goes into making that happen. But those passengers will be able to go into the coal burning area, see the motors or the engines and how they work, and really get a hands-on experience on the boat. And then also get up to the pilot house and see the wheel and the navigation stuff, and be able to ask those questions and learn about the car ferry, how it works, and the history behind it. So we're really excited to partner with the car ferry. The employees at the Badger there are very excited to be doing this, and just a lot of excitement from them and willingness, and they want to help, and everybody wants to help and get together and make this event really nice.
And for those listening, or especially those watching on our Facebook page, you can head over to WMOM's Facebook page. We're also streaming this on Hot Country Hits and our YouTube channel. But Ludington Police Department, Mike, your team has put that link right directly so that people can purchase tickets, and they can right now and do that at those various levels. I love the idea of the behind the scenes because, again, people don't get a chance to experience that, and that brings an additional value to this event. Tickets are on sale for, I believe, 50, and then the VIP 75. Is that right?
That's correct. And they'll be able to go to our Facebook page, the Friends of Ludington Police Facebook page, the Child Advocacy Center's Facebook page, and I believe the SS Badger's Facebook page. And there's a link on there with a QR code that you can just scan from your phone, or go to the website of eventbrite.com and be able to purchase them through that website.
That's great.
There also is the flyer at the police department and a few other places that they can come in, and we'll be able to help people navigate through that.
Megan, at the end of this event, these funds will help. How much? How much will it move that needle?
Without this, I can't understate how critical this is. The funds from last year's event exceeded our expectations and really took the burden off our everyday costs in Ludington. Our all 100% of what is raised here will stay in Mason County to support the work of our Ludington Center, and will go to the direct costs of running a second location. So everything will be put into the facilities fund in order to support our work locally.
Yeah, this is great. Again, it's a week from today. It's taking place. It's starting out at the Lakehouse. Jeff and the team there probably excited to help, and then right onto the Badger, just feet away. Mike, have we missed any of the details that you want to make sure that we get out to the public today?
I don't know that we've missed them. I just want to really point out that this event is just an opportunity for the community to come together. And I've said this over and over again. The community is really known for wrapping its arms around agencies that need our help and that are doing the work that needs to be done. And I just hope that once again, the community can come together and help them out. And if you can't attend the event, the Child Advocacy Center will still be and we can take them through Friends of the Ludington Police and make sure that all of those funds go straight to the Community Advocacy Center the Children's Advocacy Center for the children.
And there's a lot of responsibility on our local law enforcement shoulders, but to additionally put this on yours, Mike, and the Friends of the Ludington Police Department and all of the officers that will be involved in promoting this, I think that says a lot about local and community and being able to support no matter what environment you land yourself in. Is that fair?
Yeah, we feel very strongly that we have to work and support the community and help these kids out. It's heartbreaking seeing victims as a whole, but especially the children, and to look them in the eye and to know that they've been victimized is sometimes just more than you can stand. So we find it even more important to really help Child Advocacy Center and these children to become whole and hopefully break any cycle that may exist of them being victimized and kind of help the next generation. It's not just today's kids, but the next generation of kids that we're trying to help and prevent this from happening.
Oh, very well said.
Mhm.
Megan, your last message as we wrap up this morning to the community. There's obviously going to be other ways for people to support if they cannot make the event, but there's and Mike Captain Haveman made it very clear that um, in what you do, I guess after listening to him for a few moments there is an urgency every single day. You have to react every single day. You don't know what situation is going to be presented to you every single day. And so you want to make sure that funding and those hurdles don't become any sort of concern so that you
Yeah.
can continue to do your job.
Yeah, we want to make sure that there are always going to be barriers in this work, as we work through an imperfect justice system and all of that. But the financial part of it is one that our community can help alleviate to make sure that the work that we do is fully supported. We are thrilled that next Thursday, the Ludington community will be coming together thanks to the Ludington Police Department and the Friends of Ludington Police. And we're thrilled, Chris, that you gave us the opportunity today to help people understand what the CAC is and what we do. So I encourage anyone, if you would like a tour of our center, if you'd like to learn more about our work, please reach out. Lakeshorekids.org is our website, and I love talking to people about what our team does and the relationships with our local, city, state law enforcement, our prosecutors, our medical providers. These are all such fantastic people coming together to make sure that our community is safe and that that kids are getting what they need and what they deserve.
Great message as we wrap up. Um, we would not do our audience justice if we did not speak to even those parents, or especially maybe the teenagers or kids that might need to know that this service is available to them.
Mhm.
Will you share that direct message if you don't mind?
Yes. So really the message is towards adults that often kids don't feel that they are empowered to speak up. 9% of abuse takes place by someone that a child knows and trusts. So making sure that we as adults are safe spaces, that we're really listening and watching for signs, watching to, if there just seems something in your gut that is off, make the report. You might be the only one that is speaking up for that child. And then we can all work as a team to make sure that the services necessary are provided. But yes, trust your gut, be the champion that our community kids need.
Yeah, let's make sure we adhere to that and do that. June 4th, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's the opportunity for you to help the Children's Advocacy Center. It's at the Lakehouse at 6 p.m., moves to the Badger from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. We'll post this flyer also in the comments section of our Facebook pages, as Mike had mentioned a moment ago, for more details. And if you would, from a listener standpoint, a viewer standpoint, just spread the message and let's sell out all the tickets by next Thursday. I think that would be a huge achievement, and let's make it happen. Megan, we appreciate you taking some time with us this morning, and our promise is that we'll make sure that door is open so that you can join us in the future and keep that message out there within the communities. And Captain Haveman, thank you for taking the time to continue to strengthen the community and put these resources together and get this communication out there. So appreciate both of you joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for taking your time also to work with us to get the message out there. We appreciate it, and we want to be able to thank all of the sponsors for Safety Details has done a lot to make the funding happen for the event to occur, and Safe Harbor Credit Union and the Car Ferry and the Lakehouse, and everybody working together really recognizes how important this is, and we're able to come together as a community to make this happen. And we're looking forward to seeing everybody, and also get to the Car Ferry and see how it works. It's just going to be a good time.
For sure. And for both of you, I did know I did see on our list that it is on the fridge magnets on both radio stations now. So it's being aired throughout the day on our community calendar, our fridge magnet program. So hopefully that'll get the word out a little bit more, and we'll continue to push all the way through till Thursday of next week. So thank you again for both of you for joining us, and we will talk again soon. Okay.
Thank you.
It is 102.7 Mom FM and Hot Country Hits 99.9. And